Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on March 21st, 2022 at approximately 10:47 a.m. PST. Things have, shall we say, been challenging last week. Do apologize. After a year of almost solid, here I go and mess up almost a week. Presumably understandable given what's happened. But with that in mind, it's time to get down to work. Now, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Apparently, that has some added benefit to the tracking mechanism in YouTube. So that would be appreciated. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel, as we've got a lot of information, and it's time to really start pushing forward and getting things moving in your life, in my life, in this whole society's life. The message I came back to this lifetime to pass on to everyone in existence, whether they have technology or not, is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody, but it's going to take everybody's work to do their own, to change their own world first, because it all starts right here. Well, actually, in all fairness, it all starts up here. Draws down into the material world, into your heart, to give you that emotional impetus. Without that emotional impetus, without that anchor, getting your mind to wrap itself around it, you may understand the logic, but you're not likely to find the drive. Now, don't get me wrong, you can certainly use your brain to move forward. But it starts here, it starts now. We cannot do a thing about how you got to where you are. But everyone in existence is at exactly the same point in their life. They are right here, right now, and this is the only time you're changing anything. Even if, as myself, you have a tendency of postponing things, procrastination, when you finally get to the point of starting, it's right here, right now. So that's where we start. Now, the way this all comes together is by altering the energy in your world. Okay, it will have side effects, and we will walk through that. We're just going to start at the very beginning here, how to go about this and get things moving in a hurry. Because I don't know about you, but I'm done sitting around waiting for the world to change for me to find a way to fit in. I told somebody decades back that I was going to change the world that I was living in. And they had one of two choices. Either work with me, in other words, I'll give you the tools. You have the option of working with me and taking these tools, picking them up and putting them to use. Because every one of these tools that I offer, I personally am putting to use. Every one of the philosophies in life that I talk about are ones that I personally live. Not just talk about, I live them. For instance, I don't see a functional difference between people based on color, orientation, religious alignment, political philosophy. None of it matters to me. Okay, you're all the same. You're all of the same value. Now, I'm not talking about changing your religion. I'm not talking about following me because, well, I have the answer to everything. If I had the answer to everything, rest assured I wouldn't be here. Okay, I'm not perfect by any means. But what I am asking you to help with is when you're not dealing with your immediate religious obligations or familial obligations or work obligations, take the time to really consider and really, if it fits your bill, implement the tools that I'm talking about. In this way, we can change the world that we are living in. Now, society, as you well know, is going through a very tumultuous time right now. The last 2 years have been a nightmare for many people. For me, they worked out really well. The whole mask issue didn't matter to me. It was kind of like the same idea, when you go to a restaurant prior to COVID hitting, it was a question of no shirt, no shoes, no service. Nobody cared. To me, the mask didn't matter. So you want a mask on? Fine, whatever. Okay. When the passport came out, they started with the isolation and want to have you stay away from people. I tend to stay away from people and have for over a decade. But then they came out with the passport. Okay. And they said, now you have to have this vaccine or you cannot go to these places. The restaurants were my downfall personally, because I don't like to cook. But when they came out with the passport, okay, and they said if you don't have it, you can't go out. I'm like, bonus. Now I can stop myself, because for whatever reason, I was going to the restaurant. In the last 5 months, I have probably saved approximately $2,000 on restaurant bills. Okay, net result, within the next couple of months, I will absolutely be 100% debt-free. Well, not absolutely. There's one bill, and I'm not going to tell whose. There's one bill that was, frankly, that should not have been mine. I told them not to charge it. They charged it anyway. And I know it's going to go to collection sooner or later, and it'll sit there on my credit rating until who cares when. Because the moment I pay it, I'm telling them their fraudulent charging application and subsequent charging me for the advertising bill was acceptable. I won't do it. And since the only thing I'm looking at doing is getting my credit rating up to what I like, okay, I do have a credit card. I'm in the middle of paying it off. But I'm looking at being true to me first. There's only 3 karmic laws to follow. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, so now these are not really complicated. If you look at the rules you're following and compare them to those 3, my suspicion is that you'll find that they all fit inside the 3 I follow. With that in mind, you start here. What are you content with? Now, I can tell you, looking at my office right now, I haven't been home for the better portion of the day. Right. So, looking at my office right now, it's an absolute disaster. That is, what have I got here on my list? This works really well. Having a list, okay, of small jobs, recommended 15 minutes to half hour per job. You get one done, check it off, add another one to the bottom of the list. Now, I tend to start off with way too many, but I've got 12 on my list right now. However, by the time I'm done this, I will check off 2 like that. Because I'll finish the post and then I will double check, make sure the date is right, and post it. Check that off, then I will go on to other things. So, first and foremost, take a look in your heart and ask yourself one simple question. Are you content with everything in your life? The way your house is, the way your office is organized, the amount of money you've got in the bank, how you're getting along with your family, how you're treating people. Are you happy with your health? Are you happy with your weight? Ask yourself all of the above. Look at every detail of your life. Okay. Now, once you have done that, you identify the things that you're happy with, leave them alone. Just carry on. For instance, I found a path that is working fabulously for me where it comes to my weight. A year ago, I was at 246. I had one setback over the last year, but currently I'm probably under 205. When I checked on Sunday, I was at 205.2 pounds. Okay, don't ask me what the kilogram translation is at this point, but that's okay. And yes, I'm in Canada. We deal in metric. I still think in standard units, in imperial standards. So be it. And besides that, I get kicked out of it. Just on an off note, people complain about the metric system compared to the imperial system. Well, the neat part is, as far as I understand it, Canada has a different weight, has a different volume for a gallon than the United States does, and they were both using imperial. Who cares? Okay, from my standpoint, whether you call it a quart or a liter, whether you call it a bucket, I don't care. Okay, it's on. Shakespeare put it best when he went, "A rose by any other name would smell as sweet." This is why, as long as people aren't swearing at me, I really don't care what they call Okay, as long as there is, respect behind it. Likewise, I will deal with people as much with respect as I can. Okay, now I'm not perfect by any means, but I start with this. Okay, when I look at this list I've got, my dining room table's already done. Okay, I required it cleared. It's got stuff on it again because it came in and put a bunch of stuff. So, dining room table, I've got to get done. I've got to get dishes done, my living room floor, the horoscopes, which I do for another company, I will do as soon as I'm done the journey here. Okay, get the journey done, get the posting of it done. Finish sorting out my pantry. I figured it out. Okay, based on a whole pile of minor calculations, in order to put what I'm aiming for, and I recommend it for anybody that's got the room to do it. Okay, I'm aiming at having 6 months of non-perishable foods. In other words, canned food sitting in my house for just for me. Well, just for me and my son. That means I require about 83 cases of canned goods. Now I figured out I've got the room to do it. Okay. And with that in mind, I take a look at it and go, okay, that's what I'm going to build over the next little while. So I start with the office here. Of course, I've got the pantry, then I've got where are we here? Oh yes, I have to phone Staples. I forgot about that one. May not get to that today. Then I've got some writing I've got to do. Okay. So, all in all, this is where I'm starting, but that's because I found an emotional imperative. I got a year ago, I ended up with a massive chunk of money, more money in my hand than I usually make in 3 years. Was in my hand. It came, it went. Okay, and it wasn't until May of last year I figured out what I'd done wrong. And here we are at the end of March of 2022. And I finally got that emotional imperative that says, this is what's going to happen, and devil take the hindmost. From here on out, I am focusing on financially getting rid of my debt load, okay, wiping it out entirely without crippling myself, and getting a certain amount of cash in the bank. Okay, to do this is going to require focus, and it's going to require concentration on my part. But that's okay. That's my responsibility. You're the only one in your life that can change the way your life is going. Okay, now there are changes that will happen. Yes, somebody can run over over somebody and change your life drastically. But without that sort of intervention, you're the one that's got to do the work. Now, I will walk you through how to do the work one step at a time. But I figured this is as good a point as any. This is, the first day of spring, at least according to the calendar I know. Okay, so this is the first day of spring. This is a great time to come out of hibernation and go, this is what's happening. And again, I'm not saying follow me down the road because I'm the best there is. I'm not the only one that can turn the light on. But if you're not happy with the way your life is going, I can show you the tools that I have used to shift my life. Okay, and what is it? Oh, that's what that is. I can show you the tools I personally use. These are tools that are tried and tested. I've handed them off to a lot of other people, and I'm absolutely certain in my heart, if you put them to use properly, you will be able to change your life as well. And that's where change your outlook, changing that is the critical point in order to change the way your life is going, to change the energy in your world. Now, today, and I'll walk you through it as I go, this is going to be a long process, okay? But it's going to be a process that is very important. So here's the first check mark for you. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at my office desk. And as soon as I get off this video, Well, as soon as I get off this video, I've got to um, complete the horoscopes to turn them in because I've only got a few days before they've got to go, so I'm cutting it tight anyway. But that'll be the next thing. Then I get on with altering my office here and clearing the desk 100% down to the bare minimum. Bare minimum in my case being my computer, my monitors, my phone, and a basket of things, i.e., pens, pencils, that sort of thing that sits right there. Oddly enough, including my blood pressure machine. Okay, so one piece of modern technology where it comes to health that I pay very close attention to right now. Okay, I mean, it is possible. The doctor said I was diabetic one day, I wasn't diabetic the next. I don't care. It's likely my sugar levels are off. But no, I do not have a sugar testing machine. And before anybody gets this brilliant idea, I'm not going out to get one. Okay. I know how my body feels. I know it's a little off kilter, as evidenced by the fact I lost 3 or 4 days. So apparently I'm not doing as well as I'd like, but I'm aware of it. Okay. With that in mind, you get the imperative here. My imperative is simple. I desire to be 100% debt free, as in what I owe other people, except one debt I have no intention on paying. Okay, and no, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it is not the government. Okay, so with that in mind, I am going to clear debts as quick as I can. I will get debt free with the money in the bank I'm aiming at. Then I will start looking at who I can help. Now, the reality is, I've got a list already put together of what I'm aiming at, and I talked to you about it before. But this is all going to be, solidified, so I know exactly what I'm dealing with over the course of where are we? We're going into April. So likely by the end of April, I'll have everything worked out so I can look at it on paper, or in this case, actually on computer, and make it work properly. Okay, and when I'm talking about properly, I'm talking about working the way I desire it to. Now, I absolutely encourage you to join me on this journey, to change the energy in your life. I will guide you as much as I can. Feel free to and to ask me any questions or make your comments in the notes. Let me know what you're thinking. If you've got a question that you don't desire the rest of the world to see, okay, there's a list of contact points below this video that'll tell you how to get a hold of me. Okay, drop me a note and I will do my best to get back to you. Or if you've got a topic that you figure may be useful, absolutely let me know. Because quite frankly, from this point forward, I'm going to do my best to get a list of topics sorted around so that I can come into this on a daily basis and really start making an impact. Really start pushing it. Part of that push, okay, is absolutely the primary part of it is showing you by demonstration how to take this world that we've got and turn it to something that we can all be content with. Well, most of us can be content with. Okay. Now, the big message is the issue that working together, we can make this a better world. Now, this means, quite seriously, no matter what your nationality, your skin color, your religion, your political alignment, all of us are required, including all people of all ages. We all bring something special to the table. I don't know what the percentages are. I was looking it up today regarding disability. Okay, people that are not running at what I call societal averages, i.e., your blind people, your crippled people, your people with Down syndrome. Okay, people who suffered a stroke or a massive stroke or a massive injury. These are what are called the disabled. Okay, deaf people fall into that. There's a whole list of them. But I looked it up on the net today, and assuming the net is even remotely accurate, about 15% of the people out there fall into these categories. Now, that is not talking about the people that are of different orientations. I didn't look that percentage up, and I looked that one up years ago. Okay. When we look at the orientation side of things, what I found out way back when is when you talk about the mammalian population, okay, the entire population, including humans, roughly 4% of the population, from my understanding, is frankly gay. Okay, gay. Well, in all fairness, I don't see most of them as gay, but they are homosexual. Okay. And to me, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm not. And if you don't care, the way I told one person, well, do they care if I am? And they went, well, no. Why? I said, well, if you don't care what I am, and I don't care what you are in that respect, we're good. But roughly 4% are. Now, where it comes to the disabled people, that so many people look down on as, oh, you're incapable of doing this. There are certainly things that they are incapable of doing. Okay. I mean, I strongly recommend, if you know somebody that's blind, do not let them drive. Mind you, I know a lot of people that aren't blind that I wouldn't recommend letting drive. But when you encompass all of the so-called disabled people, okay, you're looking at 15%. Okay, plus again, you've still got 4% of the overall population, disabled included, that are also homosexual. These cannot, I don't care what religion you're following, if you look at that, these cannot be mistakes. You make that many mistakes, this is not even functionally adequate for planning. Okay, so all of us, every single one of us working together, can make this a better world. Now, somebody did point out that the odds of getting everybody to work together are slim to non-existent. Okay, we take a look at the war that's going on right now. Getting the people that started this war, getting them to work with each other, good luck with that thought. It's a great idea. And this is nothing against the peoples of any one of the countries involved. But if the major majority of us are working at it, then the upstarts won't be as big of a problem. The reality is we focus on what's wrong, what has gone sour with the world. I could give you a list. I'm no longer interested in giving you that list. You can find out what you feel is wrong. It's time we focus on the things that are right. We all, every single human alive, pretty much, I mean, there are exceptions. We wake up in the morning. If we're hungry, we eat. If we're thirsty, we drink. Now, of course, the reality is there are many people that do not have the luxury of eating every morning. This does not make them a third world group of people, as in a lesser group. We're all on one world. But everybody that is alive, all of us that are alive, look at everybody, no matter what the skin color. If they're hungry, they eat. If they're thirsty, they drink. If they're happy, they laugh or smile. If they're sad, they frown or they cry. If they're cold, they strive to get warm. They prefer being dealt with. Everybody prefers being dealt with respect. Now, if you're one of these people that is out there complaining you deserve the right to make this choice, you do. Absolutely you do. And you do have that freedom of choice. But understand, and I'm just going to go back to this idea that, you have the right. If it's raining outside, you've got the right not to wear a jacket. But if you've got the right not to wear a jacket when it's raining, other people have the right to wear the jacket when it's raining. Okay, you cannot have it both ways. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, this is very critical. So for me, I'm talking about, okay, I get done this video, get it posted, then I go and deal with the horoscopes. Then I will start clearing off the desk one step at a time. Okay, this is a question of changing the energy in my immediate office to make it work right. Okay, and as I go along, I'm going to check with you to make sure that you've done the same thing. Okay, This is going to be a long, drawn-out process of changing everything in your world, and see how it compares to the world that you're looking at. The changes that are going on. If you're not keeping a journal already, I really strongly recommend that you do so. Because in 6 months' time, if you choose to follow the path I'm laying out, I have no doubt you will be looking at the world in a very different fashion from what you are, including such real annoying things if you, by your own admission or by your own declaration, if you're fighting depression, okay, the path I'm going to lead you down has the clear potential of breaking you out of that. Okay, one of the best tools that I can offer you right off the bat, and I know it works. I've used it for other people. I use it myself. If you're fighting depression, if you're feeling really low, okay, like the world is closing in on you, find the fastest paced dance music you can find. Crank it as high as socially acceptable, and let it run in the background. The change in that music, and literally, it's a change in the vibration of that music, will bring your mood up. Doctors don't tell you this. Doctors tell you, here's a pill, here's an herb, use this, it'll make you feel better. What it actually does is it does modify things to make you feel better, and if they're helping, stay on them. Okay, but while you're on them, turn the music up. Okay, let the music play. Now, I know there's a song from way back when, and I have no idea offhand who wrote that song. Right, but it really did. There was a song that said, let the music play. Okay, Whitney Houston did one that said, I want to dance. Well, it's time to dance. It's time to get up and make the energy around you pop. Because I will tell you, the happier you are with you, the happier people around you are going to be, and the more you're going to connect with people. Intriguing thing, let's say you're like me, and you don't deal with people well. I'm very reclusive. Okay, I find going out of the house right now really wears me out. Now, this is not to say I'm worse than anybody or better than anybody. That's just the way it is with me. Sooner or later, I may change that. I just don't have that emotional drive to do so right now. I'm taking care of what's in my house, what's in my apartment, and what's in my heart. Okay. As that changes, things may change. I don't know. I'll share it with you as I go. But I encourage you right now, if you're capable of doing so, take that music. Find the fastest dance-paced music you can find. Crank it as high as socially acceptable, and let it run. Carry on with your day. Take a look at where you're working, where your primary function is as far as your house goes, which is your office, your finances. Get the energy cleared out there. Get the energy in your home cleared out. The backbone there is your kitchen, dining room, and living room. And if you've got kids involved that are with you, or a partner, get them involved in helping you. This is not a one-person job. This is not a one-person task. But working together, we can change this world for the better. Now, I will be back again to see you tomorrow. Okay, and I am absolutely committed to myself to make this work. For me. I strongly encourage you to join me on this journey and do the same thing and make this change work for you. In the meantime, I will be back tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.